Hey everyone, Coach and Hoka One Athlete Sage Canaday here with another Training Talk Tuesday. Although I'm starting to think we should maybe call these Training Talk Thursdays. That's probably how long it's going to take me to edit and upload this, but thank you so much for all your questions, all the great votes on comments. We're going to dive right in with the top voted question. It's on the heart as a muscle. Here's the question. Hope you're doing well, everyone. Also, here's a question. Does your heart need to rest between hard exercise days like a muscle, or can it cross-train just as hard day after day, and will upper body cardio improve oxygen transport for running even though it's a different muscle group? Now, thinking the heart as a muscle, we don't necessarily want to think of it like our leg muscles, because there's a lot of stress being placed on the body, especially when you run fast, when you try to run faster, up hills, your heart rate's going to skyrocket, right? And as you build fitness over time, that stress is going to kind of manifest itself in different ways. Now, there's certain risks with running. It's a very demanding sport, especially distance running, and certain risks when you're pushing yourself. And it depends on your age a bit. It depends on genetics, depends how you progress in the sport. But as a legal disclaimer, I kind of first off have to say I'm obviously not a medical professional. Consult your doctor before trying anything new. I think it's a good idea for general, when you get serious about something like running, to get checked out. There's a reason why school requirements in the US to play sports, you have to get physicals done and get checked out by a doctor. But I'm talking about more than just the basic, measuring your flexibility and mobility, but looking at the heart, especially, and ultrasounds are quite expensive, but people get very elaborate heart scans to check for things like genetic defects. Some people who have genetic defects in their heart, you might not know it till you start pushing really hard in a sport, and it could lead to heart failure. It's fairly rare, but these things do happen, and I feel like it would be irresponsible of me to not mention that. There's also things as we get older throughout life, could be some genetic factors, could be some diet and lifestyle factors where maybe you have something like plaque buildup from getting high cholesterol. High cholesterol in the diet, stress on the heart, a lot of plaque buildup. Could cause heart failure, heart attacks, even in skinny, relatively fit, low BMI distance runners, right? There's a lot of stories of runners who are relatively young, even under the age of 40, 50 years old, have a heart attack. And they've been running for a long time. So, the heart can fail. It's usually a lot more resistant to fatigue compared to other muscles in your body, though. It's designed to just keep ticking away, but things can stress it. Dehydration, heat stroke. I had a pulmonary embolism. Wasn't really so much a heart problem. They don't think it was more of a blood clots in the lungs type of issue, but it created a tremendous amount of pressure on my heart, which could have led to a heart attack, especially if I had some plaque buildup around the heart, or if I had some sort of if you have some sort of weird formation in your heart that could cause blood leakage between the sides and things like that. So that's my long spiel on that. It's good to get checked out. Sometimes doctors could hear heart arrhythmias and things like that. And people know when they're exercising and pushing that the heart is definitely being very challenged. Now, generally though, moderate exercise, especially sprinkled in easy running, easy aerobic running with some moderate high intensity, is considered very good for your heart and something that's very great and part of a healthy lifestyle. It's going to help you live longer, be healthier, get more energy. And how much of high intensity exercise is kind of up for debate. There's a lot of groups out there, I'm not going to name any names, professional groups that would say, up to 2.5, 3 hours of moderate intensity exercise, and that's it. That's good. Don't go hard. Don't do any crazy 3-hour long runs. Well, if you're training for a marathon, you're probably going to be doing some 2 or 3 hour long runs eventually if you get serious, right? And moderate intensity and high intensity, that definition is kind of subjective. It's changed over time, and it might change as people age, right? People who get older, a lot of times, it's easier to get into that more high intensity, whereas when you're a young whippersnapper, you're sprinting around all the time, you might think it's kind of moderate. You're just out playing, having fun. So, World Health Organization, they regulate 150 minutes, 2.5 hours of moderate intensity exercise. that's the optimal amount. Should you run over 30 miles a week or 50K a week? Well, if you get serious as a distance runner, you probably should. But if you're like me, you've run over 100 miles a week consistently for a long time, that might be kind of considered unhealthy, and I'll admit to that, right? You're getting really dehydrated all the time, you're really stressing your body. 100 miles a week, 160K a week for most people, you're not gonna have time for that probably. And if you do, you'll probably get some sort of skeletal muscular injury, or a bone break, stress fracture, calf strain, tendon strain, ankle strain, hamstring, you name it, hip, back. Those things usually go first before you could really do a lot of damage to your heart, unless you have one of those defects, like I said earlier in this video. So the idea of the heart fatiguing, not so much, but the idea that you want a well-balanced training program where you're not always stressing yourself out so much is important. And that's why we mix easy days, mostly easy days, low intensity, under 75% max heart rate, conversational pace, slow and steady, builds the aerobic engine, builds heart blood flow efficiency, lung efficiency, heart beating efficiency, and muscular efficiency. But it also gives the legs this break from pounding forces of running, right? Like I said, if you go hard every day, mentally it's going to be hard because it's painful to push yourself over lactate threshold. But the pounding forces are probably going to give you a stress fracture or cause a tendon muscle strain before you really mess up your heart. At least hopefully. So, that's kind of the idea more around the balanced training program and having easy days and recovering. It's not that we're worried about the heart, we're worried about these other things first. Now, the heart is a good indicator of stress and overall stress in our lives. And I was talking about health issues like high blood pressure from lifestyle factors, maybe work stress, family stress, diet types of things, not getting enough sleep, drinking too much alcohol could really change and stress your whole body, getting massively dehydrated as well, running in the heat. And we look at a measure of things, this is kind of more picked up on now, especially with all the sensors out there, but heart rate variability, right? Heart rate variability is the timing between each beat, basically. The time interval between your beats. So you think of your heart and you think of that spiky graph going up and down, right? Well, it's the interval between. And of course that changes, right? With a resting pulse, it changes as you get stressed out and your heart beats faster. As you're running and exercising at higher intensities, your heart's really beating fast, right? So if you're measuring that and you have a good baseline, especially throughout the course of a day, you could see variations in that. And that's what a lot of these stress metrics measure, heart rate variability. It kind of tells you, are you recovered for your next hard session, right? You had a really hard workout, you didn't sleep very well, you didn't have a very good diet, you have all this work stress, lifestyle stress, maybe your heart rate variability really drops and it goes down. Whereas if you're getting enough sleep, you had a couple easy days, recovery days, the heart's more recovered, the muscles and legs are recovered, you're hydrated, you have higher heart rate variability, a lot bigger of a number relative to your baseline. And that means that's a good indicator that you're ready to train hard again. So it's a stress, recover, stress, recover. And if your heart's always at a really bad heart rate variability, a lower number, it could mean that there's a imbalance basically between it's part of your autonomic nervous system, but the parasympathetic versus sympathetic nervous system gets a little out of whack. And you think of the parasympathetic, I believe, might be saying that wrong, is the fight or flight response. So when we're in a period of real stress, that thing's kicking in on overdrive. Well, that's okay when you're running hard, but after you're running and you want to recover and unwind at night, it's not good if your heart's still under that kind of stress and your whole body's extra stressed out. You're not going to be recovering ideal. So it's a fine balance, it's a delicate balance, and I'm trying to think if I answered that question directly. The upper body cardio, improve oxygen transport. A lot of that oxygen transport happens with mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell, right? Adaptations in your capillary beds, blood flow to the muscles, but things at the cellular level, as well as stuff in your lungs, the lung efficiency, right? So, your heart beating is part of that for sure, cardiovascular fitness, but, definitely all around training, being able to recover is going to help a lot. And I wouldn't think of the heart like your leg muscles at all. But you need that balance still, and you need that balance because of all the cortisol and stress hormones and things like that could affect your body overall as a whole unit in a negative way. So that's my spiel on that. Thank you so much for all your support on here. Again, really appreciate all the Patreon supporters for making this channel possible. Title sponsor, Hoka One One, keeping the dream alive. Hope you guys are doing well. Comment below with next week's training talk topic and vote up the question that you want answered. The one with the most thumbs up will be the one that I will answer next week in the Training Talk Tuesday. Again, thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. Stay tuned for more vlogs on here. Subscribe if you like these types of videos, and check out stuff in the description below. Got some sponsor promo codes and links and stuff like that. So thank you. Support our coaching business, Higher Running. We sell training plans for any surface, any distance. Again, hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.